This is the Nanuk 935 protective case from Nanuk. Hey guys, Coleman here. In this video, I'm going to be unboxing this, giving my first impressions, and letting you know exactly why this case is the best for your next travel production. Make sure to watch until the end of the video because I'm saving a very important tip for the end. Now to start off, Nanuk is a Canadian company based in Quebec, first released this product in the early 2010s. And it was designed to both perfectly fit an overhead compartment on a plane while maximizing the space inside the case. Now this case comes in 8 different colorways and a plethora of different internal storage options to meet multiple price points and production needs. Now there are 3 reasons why I needed this case. Firstly, I needed a safe way to travel with my gear. Secondly, I wanted to free up some space in my camera bag. Now, I've been using the Peter McKinnon Nomadic Everyday 25-liter bag from Nomadic. Anyways, review on this one coming soon, but I've been needing more space because I've been outgrowing this bag. And thirdly, it's better than the basket that I was using. A lot better. So I needed a case ASAP, and I'm very excited to finally unbox this thing. Finally! I'm waiting so long to finally get this thing unboxed. Now, I've seen a lot of videos of unboxings as well as first impressions, so I know that this is not going to be the most luxurious of unboxings, but I'm still very excited. Woo! Opened it from the wrong side, of course. Whew! Finally. Ooh, yeah, the clamps are very nice. This is one of the things that was getting a lot of compliments. And the first open. Ooh, yeah. I've been seeing a lot of videos and they say that the plastic smell is really strong. But as you can tell, I opted with the lid organizer as well as the padded divider set. It is quite a bit more money. It almost doubles the cost of the case, but I am very excited to see what all I can pack in here. So it comes with a couple different things and then a little pamphlet. Apparently they offer custom printings. So excited to take this guy out. Now this padded divider set is pretty self-explanatory. They're just Velcro pads that you can kind of customize however you like. But one quick tip, you're never going to need all of the pads inside of here. So what I would recommend is taking the little pads out. Well, this is gonna do 2 things. 1, you're not gonna need it when you initially pack your bag. And 2, after a lot of use and reshuffling, and when you finally figure out what gear you're going to put where, you can take those 2 dividers that you set aside and put them in your case and it will look new essentially. One last thing I want to note is you can see that there's indents for both of the wheels as well as the top handle up here. Something that you may not think of when you see the dimensions online. Toss that guy in there. Fits nice and snug. Oh man, I know I'm making a review right now, but I'm just really excited. Now this up here, this is the lid organizer. It's quite expensive. Okay, so padded divider obviously is completely custom. You can fit these however you like, but the lid organizer is a little bit different. So there's big pocket here and then 2 pockets on the side, as well as a Velcro strap up top, and you have a little bit of a sleeve inside to put something like an iPad or a computer. Now when I was watching a review, one of the things that I was kind of considering when I was planning out how I was gonna pack this was I wanted to see if this laptop sleeve up top had enough room for a DJI Avata 2. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting a drone in there unless there was like almost nothing in the bottom part. Okay, so I wanted to pop in and say a couple things because I've now had the Nanuk 935 for about 9 months now, and I wanted to reiterate that everything that I say in this video is accurate and make some additional comments based on my experiences in the past 9 months. One thing that I've noticed a lot in the YouTube videos that I've watched surrounding this case is that there's a lot of alternatives for the padded divider set. Now, I opted for the padded divider set just because it was convenient, and I feel like it was a really good decision for a bunch of reasons. But if you do end up buying the case empty with no padded inserts and no lid organizer, you can buy those after and they'll still fit in the case. Now, odd distinctions aside, the key here is major detail to minor features that add a lot of value to this case. Now there are 3 very obvious features and there are 3 not very obvious features. Now firstly, there's a pressure release valve right in the front that regulates the internal air pressure. You're not going to have any issues opening this thing up because it is airtight inside. Secondly, I-rings for TSA locks on the front. Adds another level of security and makes it really easy to keep your stuff safe. Now thirdly, and another really obvious one, but the clamps. Now these clamps are very secure because they have this little gray piece. It requires you to actually press down on it before you can lift it up. This makes it a little bit easier and a little bit safer as you're not going to accidentally flip the case open. Now, 3 less obvious features that you're probably not going to notice that I definitely want to mention are, firstly, both the top and side handles are retractable, meaning they pop out and they clamp down so that way when you're rolling the case around, it's not going to be rattling around. Same thing goes on the top. It's down always, and then when you want to use it, you can pull it out. Secondly, a less obvious detail that you're probably not going to notice is the rolling handle has a button that you press in. You can extend it to length 1 or length 2. I'm obviously going to use the taller one, but it's another feature that I'm really glad that they added. Now, thirdly, and probably most importantly, this is one of the things that this case gets a lot of praise for, and that is the rollerblade style wheels. They're silent. They're rollerblade style, which means they're rubber on the bottom. As far as the highlights go, the wheels are as silent and they are as great as people say. Another highlight is overall storage. I was really impressed with how much I was able to fit inside of here. I was really worried when I was first packing this that I wasn't going to be able to fit my gimbal as well as a lot of my other production stuff, like my matte box, my monitor, etc. And I was really impressed. Also, the laptop sleeve that I was considering putting a DJI Avata 2 into, it doesn't fit at all. But I was able to fit a 5-in-1 reflector kit in the laptop sleeve that I got for like 20 bucks on Amazon. And I used for some of my shoots, not all of them, but it fits in the top of the case and it works perfect. You can roll this thing around completely silently and not have to worry about loud noises or scratching floors or anything like that. Now onto the lowlights. Some of the things that over the past 9 months I've kind of discovered that I didn't like as much. One, when you're packing the case, make sure that all the weight for the case is at the bottom. Otherwise, if it's packed towards the top, it does this weird wobble thing where if you're rolling the case and you turn, it'll do this wobble thing where it'll go back and forth on each wheel for a while and you kind of have to stop. I don't necessarily fault the case for that. That's more just a physics issue, and you should know, pack as much weight towards the wheels and the bottom of the case as possible and leave the lighter stuff towards the top. Second low light that I didn't really mention was the longevity of the divider set. They work really, really well, but I have concerns about the longevity of the divider set. Is not very well made. I've used a lot of travel bags, everything from the high end down to the low end. I'd say the padded divider set is on the lower end of the quality spectrum, but you should probably take that with a grain of salt because I've used it a lot over the past 9 months and it hasn't failed me yet. So, and the last low that I have is pretty much just a personal one. Me, myself, I'm 6'5", and the rolling handle height that's extendable is like probably an inch shorter than I wish it was. I feel like I have to hold my shoulders a little bit lower when I'm rolling it. It's just, I mean, that's probably only a personal issue, but it does kind of feel like I'm walking while I'm holding a small child's hand or something as I'm going. So it is a little bit on the shorter end. I wish it was maybe an inch taller, but I mean, that's a very minor complaint. Yeah, that's kind of all I have on lowlights. If you really want to know my opinion on the case, I'll get to that in the final thoughts. But as you can see, this right here, that's another case from Nanuk that I ended up buying because I liked the Nanuk 935 so much. I ended up needing a lighting kit, which I'm going to be making a video on that soon, but I ended up buying the Nanuk 988, which is their 45-inch travel case. It's essentially the exact same thing, just 41 inches instead of 30-something inches on the Nanuk 935. So I love Nanuk products, and I continued going with them because how much I liked the 935. Now, I think it's a good time to mention that if you're watching this video and you're interested in the Nanuk 935, all the products that I review on this channel will have a corresponding playlist with what I consider to be the most insightful or best made reviews on the product. Now, after all of this, you're probably wondering, why is this the best option? What makes the Nanuk 935 better than the competition? Now, the biggest competition for the Nanuk 935 is probably the Pelican Air 1535. This is not only because Pelican is one of the biggest brand names in the space, but both of these cases are marketed towards travel media personnel, and they have the exact same dimensions as to fit the overhead compartment on a plane. Now, for those of you interested in price, here you can see the price comparisons for both of the standalone cases. And here are the prices for the cases with similar internal storage options, some of which being dividers like I have, some of which being foam inserts. And you can clearly tell that the Nanuk is the cheaper of the two options. Now, even though I haven't had much experience with the Nanuk 935 yet, I have used Pelican cases on other productions. And here are 4 reasons why I think the Nanuk 935 beats the Pelican case. First reason is the clamps. Not only do these lock and make it really easy to not accidentally open them, but they also have this silent feature where if you press down the gray tab as you're closing it, it closes silently. Anybody that owns a Pelican or has used a Pelican knows that there's a very loud noise that comes when you close the case. The second reason that I think this one is better is because of the sleek design. Now, anybody that's worked with Pelican cases knows that on the top, there are 2 plastic lines that go across the top and the bottom of the lid of the case. These are to ensure that when you're stacking cases, they're not going to slide off and it's very stable. However, because those are plastic, they easily wear. Over time, this leaves you with a scuffed case and, in my opinion, a less professional look. Now, Nanuk has solved this problem by adding its stacking feature on the bottom. On Pelican cases, the bottom here is flat that make it really easy to stack these. And fourthly, and it's one thing that we've already talked about, is the handle on the top. Now, we've already mentioned that it has 2 heights, but anybody that's used a Pelican case knows that when you pull up, you also have to pull out on the bottom piece of the Pelican case, meaning that you have to use both hands to open it. In this case, you only have to use one hand where you press the button and lift. It's so much easier. And finally, I'll give you one more. This one's easily the most controversial and a reason that I think Nanuk is better than Pelican. I'm not a big fan when companies put their branding all over their equipment. It makes me feel like an obnoxious billboard promoting their product in my own brand, and it's distracting. It's not something that I appreciate. I know that some people like it, but I'm really glad Nanuk went with this minimalist design where their logo is not all over the case. Now, final thoughts. There's a couple reasons why I really like this, and like I said, I did end up buying another Nanuk case because I feel like Nanuk makes great products, but for these reasons, I feel like Nanuk 935 is the best overall case. Now, in this case, I feel like, I said case. Now, all of this kind of goes back to when I bought it. Firstly, I feel like it's competitively priced with other cases that are similar in the market, and it holds up in the long run. Secondly, I feel like it exceeded my storage expectations. I thought it was going to fit X amount of items, and it was really difficult to figure out what was going to fit, what wasn't going to fit. But since using it, I've been able to hold everything that I need and more in that case. So I'm very happy with its storage capacity overall. Thirdly, it checked every single box on my list for a production case, and I think it probably will in your case as well. It's easy to travel with, it's sleek, it's professional, it's safe. It solved all my needs and I'm very happy with it. And bonus, it fits perfectly in my car, which is awesome. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, click the button, and I have more of these coming out soon. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Hey guys, where if you press down the green, as well as the padded divider set, that I think the Nanuk 930. The second is probably the Pelican Air 15 to 30. I said 15 to 35, that's a lens. I'm an idiot. 70 to 300. This is the Canon EF 70 to 300. Okay, take care. Take care is kind of stupid. Surely I got it. I really hope I got that. And I'm very excited that they just recently announced the Canon R1 will be coming out. Now, I probably won't be getting that one. I'm waiting around for the Canon R5C Mark II.